be taking a look at a scenario where Europe has a country draft. Now, if you don't know what a country draft is, I have done a video like this before. It's basically where I select two countries within Europe. So in this video, it's going to be the United Kingdom and France, and they'll each be able to choose another country from Europe to be on their team. So they will alternate back and forth. So the UK will pick, and then France, and then the UK, and eventually we will have a full team of countries with every country in Europe on the side. And once that happens, they will fight against each other, and it will be interesting to see which side will win. So if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. All the support is greatly appreciated right now, as our channel is kind of slumped. That's all right though. It's understandable. Everyone's going back to school, including myself, and it's hard to keep up with everything. So I understand. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump straight into the scenario. So as I said, the UK will be picking, and as well as France, because I feel like that's what makes the most sense. You know, the biggest rivals in history, the United Kingdom and France. And I will be letting the UK pick first, and that's simply just because their empire was larger. So the UK's first pick in the draft is going to be Germany. A very smart choice here. Germany has an amazing economy, the fourth best in the world. They also have a sizable military, and they are in a very strategic location in the smack dab center of Europe. Now France will get the second overall picked, and they are most likely going to go ahead and choose Poland. Also, I think it's important to note that Turkey will not be included in this, as well as Russia. They're more of an Asian country, so if I do an Asian country draft video, then they'll be in that. They're not going to be in this one. Anyway, the UK is back on the clock, and they are going to go ahead and select Ukraine. Another strong country, the second largest in Europe, if we're not counting Russia. Or no, if we are counting Russia. And now it's France's turn, and they are going to go ahead and select Italy, their Mediterranean ally. The UK will select Spain, and France is going to go ahead and pick Finland. The UK is going to go for Greece. And now it gets interesting because we have a lot of the stronger countries out of the way. The next strongest country that is here is most likely going to be Sweden or maybe Romania. I'm trying to think, maybe Portugal. Other than that, though, not that many strong countries left. So with that in mind, France will go ahead and select Sweden, and the UK will get their old ally of the Portugal. France is going to go ahead and finish off their Scandinavian run by taking over Norway, and the UK will select Romania. France will get Bulgaria, the UK gets Serbia, and now we're down to the fairly weak countries. I think the strongest country that remains is Belarus, and well, they're going to go ahead and select that. So France gets Belarus. An interesting choice here in this late round, maybe a late round steal, if you will. But as you can see, France has kind of chosen all over the place, and the UK has as well. The only concentrated place is like over here in the Balkans, where the UK has a lot of red, and for France is up here in like the Nordic region. Anyway, it's the UK's turn, and they are going to go ahead and select. I'm going to have them selecting Belgium. This is kind of a reach in the draft if you consider Belgium's power is not very much. However, it is strategic, and it is like right next to Paris. So might be an issue for France, but France is going to go ahead and pull into reverse and take Ireland. This will serve as a nice distraction for the UK in the beginning of the war, but the UK is going to go ahead and throw that curveball right back at them as they select Switzerland. Good country to choose if you want to go ahead and not let troops pass through them. Lots of mountains here. Next up, we have France taking Czechia. This is more of a strategic country. The red team takes Denmark, and with that, they kind of get Greenland, but not really because they're North America. France will go ahead and take Lithuania. The UK will take Austria. France will take Slovakia. UK is going to get kind of a steal here. Hungary, late round. I cannot speak today. Similarly, France will get a late round steal in Croatia. The UK is going to take Latvia, and then France will take over Estonia. And now we're down to the weaker countries in Europe. Yeah, these guys aren't doing anything. The UK will go ahead and take the Netherlands, though, in order to keep up with the lowland area. France will take Slovenia. This is most likely kind of a strategical kind of thing. The UK is going to take Bosnia, which will also hurt the blue team. Speaking of the blue team, they're going to go ahead and take Albania. The red team will take over Montenegro. The blue team will take then they're going to take North Macedonia. The red team is going to go ahead and take Iceland. Yeah, Iceland. That makes a lot of sense. Blue team is going to go ahead and select Kosovo. Red team will take over Moldova. Blue team will take Cyprus. And last but not least, Luxembourg goes to the red team. So, this is our country draft Europe. As you can see, it's fairly even in the number of countries, but power-wise, let's break that down real quick. So the red team has the UK as its strongest country, the blue team has France as its strongest country, go figure. But the red team also has countries like Germany, the UK, Spain, France, not France, why did I say France? Romania is what I meant to say, and Portugal. The blue team has powers like France, Italy, Poland, Finland, and overall, I don't really know who has the edge here. If we want to compare this to like Madden's a football game if you don't know, and we're looking at their overall, which is like how good they are, I give the red team like a 90 overall, and I give the blue team maybe like an 89 overall. Maybe swapped around. Yeah, probably swapped around. But they're really close. So let's go ahead and make these countries fight. Also, I do have to say that I have to be done with this video in the next 30 minutes because there is a preseason Monday Night Football game that I want to watch. Nothing wrong with wanting to watch your own team in preseason, right? Anyway, the red team will make the first move here, and that is the UK going to go ahead and start to invade Ireland. Now, Ireland stands literally no chance against the UK, so I could go ahead and just wipe that out, but I'm not going to. Next up, we have France pushing into these lowland countries, and that is to protect their capital from any gains that Germany or the UK is making to look on them. Remember, their capital is like right there, so it could be dangerous. Also, speaking about capitals here, I'm just going to go ahead and say if the UK loses their capital, the red team is going to be severely damaged. If the France loses their capital, the blue team will be severely damaged, but that does not mean they're out of the war. Speaking of out of the war, Latvia gets absolutely pummeled by their neighbors, and Latvia was more of a distraction for the red team. They didn't really contribute anything other than like lives, but now
Fuck this to the ad. I hate ads so much when
lives. But now Germany can go ahead and do its thing in Poland. Down south, we have a Balkan gangbang, as these guys are not in good position to survive. And to be frank, Cyprus, sorry. Alright, so Southern Europe has subsequently been united under the red team for the most part, but now the blue team is going to go ahead and make a stride to connect with their southern neighbors, pushing through Hungary and Austria. Now we see Spain making movement in southern France as they slither around both coasts in order to take out any naval areas which France might need. We see Italy push into Austria as well as Bosnia and Herzegovina, and France's push into the lowland countries is a success as they managed to take over all of them. Back over in Ireland, we have a complete collapse of the Irish, and now British troops are making to look an influence over here in France. Now France is kind of screwed. They didn't really get to surround themselves with their own teammates, and the UK does have the advantage in that sense since they are on an island, meaning that in theory the blue team is screwed. But we're not done just yet. We have the Nordic countries here coming into Denmark and invading them. I'm not going to make the 6-hour joke here, but they go into northern Germany, and it is here that the Germans are kind of in trouble. They go ahead and take the Sudetenland from Czechia, as well as their capital for good measure, but now they're relying on help from the UK and others because they are kind of in a pickle. Speaking of in a pickle, Belarus is most certainly in one of those. As Ukraine is taking out all of their anger on them, they swiftly capture Minsk, and with the help of their people, they overthrow Belarus. They now invade into other parts of Poland, and with Romania's help, they make a good push towards Warsaw. With the gates of Warsaw now being surrounded by Ukrainians, Poland is in trouble as they are once again fighting a two-front war. Poland can never catch a break. But hey, Finnish troops from Finland are now coming through the Baltics and have arrived over here in Lithuania, and they are now pushing into Belarus in order to try to liberate the country from the liberators. If you can't tell, I'm not good at English. They're freeing Belarusians from the freedom. Anyway, back over here in Croatia, the Balkans make a push into Croatia, and Spain is kind of pushed back just a little bit, but that does come out of the expense of France, as Germany manages to get itself together and push back France from the lowland countries all in one push. And important to note, British troops were there helping. We also see a slight pushback of the Scandinavian troops. Well, over here in Poland, we have the collapse of Warsaw, and this is going to deal a huge blow to the blue team, as they are starting to lose one of their strongest members. Poland just really can't fight two-front wars, and it's proven here as their country slowly but surely starts to crumble and eventually surrenders. We now see the fall of Czechia and Slovakia, and with this, the blue team's front into Hungary and Austria is severely damaged. Finnish troops are making a case, though, up north, as they are now pushing into parts of Poland and Belarus. However, they are stopped by the enfilade of Ukrainian and Romanian troops, which were already in the area. We see the Nordic countries push back into Germany and start to threaten Berlin, which will cause some German troops who are holding out over here in Poland to go back towards the capital in order to defend the city. Now, this does give a slight breakthrough to Finland, but it was very slight, and they are eventually stopped by reinforcements. Down south, France manages to push back France and... I'm like dyslexic or something. France pushes back Spain and Portugal. Over here in the Balkans, things are not looking too hot for the blue team, as all of these countries are really focusing in on this area and pushing back Italy, who, if you know history, they don't really like Italy that much. They eventually meet the border of Italy and push in, capturing Venice, and it is here that it looks like the red team might win this war. However, France is going to go ahead and push through this place, Alsace-Lorraine, and start to push into Germany, making a spearhead right towards their capital. Now, this is taking a lot of resources, and France knows it, so they eventually stop and reinforce his front line. This does kind of defer a attack from the lowland country of Belgium, which was going to take place by the red team and sweep down and take Paris, so good on France for that. However, it leaves them vulnerable in the south, which leads to Spain taking back the land which they just lost. Back over here, a whole bunch of nothing happens, and back over here, we have the Scandinavian countries pushing around just a little bit more. It's important to note Germany's military at this point. They have a military of around 100,000, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, it might be more now. I think they upped it actually, so it might be closer to 200,000 now, but like that's not a lot. Like Finland has like almost 1 million in total, counting reserves, so that's kind of crazy. Anyway, we now have these two countries meeting up and splitting Germany into two, and in this process, they managed to take Frankfurt, the economical capital of Germany. This weakens the country severely. It also leads to some logistical faulties over here in the Baltic Sea, as Finland is able to liberate more and more of Poland until eventually the country can reestablish itself. Ukraine, however, is not taking that smoke, as they're going to go ahead and push right back into Belarus, taking Minsk and now reaching the border of the Baltic countries. But this is about as much as they can do, though, because the Finns are built different. Back over in Italy, we have the Greeks making a landing in Sicily. That is probably the weirdest thing that I've ever said doing mapping videos. They then start to push up the Italian peninsula, and Italy is having PTSD as they are being invaded from two sides. Switzerland finally does something as they start to invade the more mountainous areas of Italy, and eventually more allied landings take place along the Italian peninsula until eventually they are split in half and are forced into surrender slash, switching sides. They do that sometimes. The Spanish take out Corsica and Sicily, and the red team is rolling. Now a mass influx of Balkan troops are migrating towards France, and with this, the invasion of France begins for the last time. The UK launches a landing from Normandy, and this goes well, which it really shouldn't have, but it does. And all in all, the French lose their capital. But hope is not yet lost for the other ties, because France just surrendered. And with this surrender of France, all of their troops are going to surrender, leaving only the blue team troops, which are over here, to remain. Finland is going to go ahead and try to make a case for themselves as they push into Poland and do some damage. But that's about all they can do until eventually the red team, which is now in all of its might, starts to wreck the blue team. I mean, it's not pretty. We have the blue team being pushed out of continental Europe.
Emergency. Do not open Zeta. I'm serious. This
Continental Europe. Well, I mean, this is continental Europe, but it's like separated by a Baltic Sea. And now they are given the option to surrender, in which case they all three do, in order to save themselves from this peace treaty, which is about to wreck them. Alrighty then. Let's break down this peace treaty here. So, some interesting things have happened. Some old friends have returned, and quite frankly, I'm scared. Anyway, let's start with the UK. They're going to go ahead and annex all of Ireland, and they're going to go ahead and get a chunk out of France. Now, speaking of France, they have been chunked up themselves. Spain went ahead and took what they could get, which is all of southern France. We have Belgium going ahead and taking over a good chunk of this area and uniting with Luxembourg. Germany is doing a cosplay of its old self as they took over Alsace-Lorraine, as well as some lands in Poland. Now, this isn't 100% accurate to what they had, but it's pretty close. And also, Czechia lost their Sudetenland. Now, speaking of Czechia, as you'll notice, Austria-Hungary is back, and I don't know how I feel about that. Now, of course, realistically, it wouldn't come back, but I thought it would be fun just to include it in this scenario, because why not? Going up north now, we see that Denmark now slowly controls the entrance into the Baltic Sea right here. Poland exists, but very, very very small. The Nordic countries were, for the most part, untouched. We have Latvia annexing all of Estonia, Lithuania, and Belarus in order to form the Baltic Union. Ukraine got very large. Romania got some land out of Bulgaria. Speaking of Bulgaria, they look very strange now. Serbia annexed all of Kosovo and Montenegro in order to just form Serbia. Bosnia and Herzegovina got access to the ocean, and Greece is looking a lot more Greek. And Italy got through this pretty much unscathed, and Switzerland didn't gain any land. And this was mostly done by however much you contributed is how much land you got. So as you'll notice, Germany contributed a lot. They got a lot of land. Ukraine contributed a lot. They got a lot of land. And just in case you needed a reference, here's the other map. So yeah, I had to look at this when I was making the peace treaty because I kind of forgot which countries were on which sides. But yeah, the red team triumphs in this war, and that is going to do it for the European country draft. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Got to emphasize that extra much right now. Also, just want to go ahead and say that I will no longer be doing videos on Monday now, and that is because school has started up for me again, and I got homework and stuff to do and band stuff, so it's just too much for me. I really could do it if I really wanted to, but it will just burn me out even more than I already am burnt out. And I really don't want to be more burnt out than I already am. And maybe not doing a video on Monday will help me out, because 3 videos a week is a lot when you're doing school and stuff and having other things to do. So yeah, back to 2 videos a week should be fine. We'll be cooking, all good. Anyway, once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And of course,